Well, hey there team, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to some more Stationeers. It's probably worth, we might put it in the title, actually, the Stationears update, which was very funny, if not on the nose. They have responded to a lot of community feedback, basically, and done a fairly big update by the look of it. A lot of optimization around the engine, around load times, that sort of thing. Apparently some smelting recipes may have changed quite drastically, which will be interesting to look at. Let's investigate that. Great, now I wonder if there's an easy way to, is there a way to smelting alloys? Oh, what, I can't click on that? I have to retype it, is that the idea? Alloy. Nothing. Okay, right. Well, let's say we went steel. Not that I know any of this shit off by heart anyway, but let's go. I mean, same ratios, 900, 1 MPa. I'd be curious about something like, say, solder. Well, that's a lot hotter. Oh, no, it's not. What am I talking about? The threshold's much lower. I don't know how much this has changed. But anyway, look, there's not much for me. Like, I'm not super well versed in the minutiae of the numbers, but that's they've sort of put like a warning. A lot of the ways that alloys work have changed. Apparently, super alloys have a much lower yield now. So look, there's a lot there to check out. If you weren't aware of it, I'm at least signal boosting it. I'm not necessarily going through all the individual stuff. You can wait for Sadamo to do that. That's his job. He goes through all the bits and pieces that get added. All right, so what were we doing previously? Well, we were working toward essentially peeling off the volatile as it comes out. I'm just not comfortable. The one thing that you can tell about this system currently is that all we're going to do is add more pressure. We're just going to push our ideal gas up, right? Because we're going to be pumping more stuff in, which means we're going to have higher percentages potentially of volatile. We're going to have higher temperatures. Obviously, the area is not changing, and we're going to get to a point where it hits the right mixture of volatile and O2 waste, because there's already probably plenty in there. Yeah, we're going to get to a point where it'll be the right pressure and the right amount of numbers, and it'll just go fucking bang. So I figure we'll peel it off. People pointed out that peeling out oxygen is probably a good idea as well. I don't think you get the term escapes me, but you know, if you stir oxygen at a super duper high rate, it can blow up on its own. I believe. I'm talking out my ass a little bit here, but someone was commenting about it. I don't know if that's fully implemented in this game. I think straight up, if you want an explosion, you just got to put H2 and O2 in the same thing. I think that's as complicated as it gets. Anyway, so we're going to sort of toil away. But again, I'm happy to be wrong on that one. We're going to toil away on this system. I think I laid out fairly openly how I plan on changing it. So I guess some of the first things that we're going to want to do is start removing pipe, which is scary to me, but all right, so if we go, yeah, the pipe's going to run around here, run around the outside. Around the outside? Around the outside. Okay, so now, if memory serves, doing this just destroys the gas in the pipe. It doesn't vent or anything like that. I don't know if you want to call this an exploit. I'm not actively trying to exploit the game by doing this. It just seems like the only way you can, I guess in the real world, you would want to potentially purge the entire system, right? Right. But it is a game, it's going to have its limitations. I think that might be how we do it. Right. How do I pull you down? Bloody this. Alright. Filtration. Yeah. I actually don't want to stick that straight on there. Because remember we wanted to potentially put a pipe, a bit of space out the back. Yeah, so we're going to have to move that across one as well. Okay, cool. So let's pop this in here and there and disconnect. Right. Deconstruct tank connector. All right. We'll just I'm being a lot better with my tool hygiene now that I know that a storm could come fuck us up at any moment. Well, yeah, we'll definitely move that across an extra. Actually, no, let's place the other thing first. That makes more sense. Yeah, filtration. Yeah, I guess we could do it like that. That would work. Right. And then we can't really connect that straight on with giving it a... Yeah, see, I want a bit of grace in the back. So what I want is actually to connect that there, I think. Yeah. And let's just leave that be for the moment, just so it's secure, so it's firm. I need food. I also need to check on my plants, which we haven't really done in a while. Oh, apparently they've really overhauled the way plants work as well, like poison atmosphere and that, so... Oops. Blow the fucking walls out of this. If you're not careful, old Scarlet. Now, I also thought of something as well, because my mind always drifts back to the turbines. Actually, might as well talk about it now. Right, so, once upon a time, we did a little bit of a series playing with turbine generation. Turbine power generator. And what I was trying to do was actually use temperature and pressure changes a la a proper turbine to sort of get it going. 30 degrees. At this point, I'm willing to let this go until they actually break, because I don't know how hot's too hot. I can't remember. Wow, we got a 20 stack already. Anyway, that wasn't working very well. But then I was just thinking the other day, what if we brute forced it, you know, like how I deal with fucking everything in my life? What if I just brute force the situation, right? So, hear me out on this one. I looked it up. So, an active vent uses 100 watts, and a back pressure regulator uses 100 watts as well, right? A turbine at max can earn 90 watts back. But you would have to have, you know, a pretty good controlled environment. Okay. I'll just pause my little story for a moment. So we're going to have to wire that in. We're going to need filters. You know what? Let's get the filters going now. I'll put 2 volatile filters in there just so we've got redundancy. If one fails, we can replace the other. I think it's just called Yeah. I think the medium one's probably Constantin. No, you can get fucked. We're not doing that. Iron. Yeah. 5 iron, is that all? Jeez, you know what? It would be worth just cooking up more, to be honest. 25 sounds good. Yeah, okay, so what I was thinking is, say you build like a little miniature wind corridor. It's all enclosed. We build it all with frames, right? So as far as the 100 kPa pressure limit that you get off these thin walls, that wouldn't be the case. It's almost an infinite pressure limit. So we could have very high pressures in there. This was what we were actually doing previously when I was playing with the turbines, sort of enclosing a space. On the one end, we would have an active vent as the inlet, and on the other end we would have a back pressure regulator as the exhaust, so as to throttle a false pressurized environment, right? So you set the back pressure regulator to, I don't know, 150 kPa, something like that. Hopefully we'll be able to find the sweet spot where the turbine has enough throughput pressure to give you what you want, right? As far as the 90 watts feedback. There we go, nice. We're going to have to make a shitload of pipe as well. Fortunately, I made a whole bunch of iron. So, and in that system, now look, in the ideal world, you just need 3 turbines, right? Because they're doing 90 a pop. So if it's costing you 200 to run the system, as in the active vent in and the back pressure regulator out, you should be able to recoup, excuse me, with just 3. But that's assuming we can get the full 90 watts per turbine back. We probably won't, but, well, I shouldn't say probably, but we could. But you could put it infinitely, but you could have it as hypothetically as small as 3 turbines. So in my system, essentially, we have the active vent always turned on, always drawing 100 watts, and it's always filling up the first sort of mini sector, which is the first part of the tube before it hits the turbine. And then that would just overpressurize and pass through and pass through and pass through. And we'll get to a point where we have the entire system sitting there at like 150 kPa. And then at that point where you've reached a sort of equilibrium across the system relatively, the back pressure regulator will at that point be pushing air out at the rate that the active vent's pulling it in, right? Because it will now be sort of, in a way, a stable system. So the active vent's going to be pumping as fast as it possibly can, and the back thing's going to be blasting out as well. And now I can't see why that wouldn't work. And it's pretty simple as well. Again, it's sort of breaking the game if it does work. Like, we're not really using a turbine as you would normally, which is to say through heat exchange. Or not heat exchange, sorry, like heat differential, right? However you want to word it, you know what I'm saying. That's the idea of a turbine, is harvesting temperature change or state change even. But yeah, doing what I'm saying is like you could probably leverage the way that work and... Did that just run out of coal? Did too. The way that sort of work and resistance and friction works in this game, I don't think it's that robust. So I kind of feel like we might be able to do what I just suggested, and you could just... Perhaps you could build it in a U shape to make it easier to extend. You could cut the U off and put 2 more rooms on, and then you could just infinitely extend it. Anyway, I thought I'd float it because I think the project is sound. Like last time we were just hard experimenting with what it would do. That's why it was meandering a little bit. But I thought I'd put that idea out there for y'all. Now I'm not connecting that up, not yet. Because, yeah, I feel like that might actually work, in which case the devs who I know watch my video will probably want to patch that out ASAP. But I feel bad for the bloody the poor little turbine. He gets underused, and you can tell that I really want to make it work. Like I said, I've got that sort of HVAC background, so I find all that sort of thing very interesting. Tank connector. We're actually going to need a fresh tank as well, but I think that's like 20. Anyway, look, I don't have a visual aid to go along, so you just got to go on my bogan bloody mannerisms to figure out what I was trying to explain just now. But I think it could work. I think I'm actually onto something. I mean, there is another like lesser project which you can see that the you know, obviously the storms come in a predictable direction, So because of that, you can harness that. So you could actually make a wind corridor with a huge fuck you battery system attached to it and try and harness that storm when it comes through. Presumably it creates wind. I mean, we do have the wind turbine and all that sort of thing. So that's another thing that you could do. But I'm more interested in, like, I don't know, like any self-respecting engineer, the idea of a bloody self-sustaining energy source is a pretty sexy concept, you know? It tickles you. So yeah, so that's my idea essentially, because I think the magic to making that whole system work is the back pressure regulator to throttle the throughput, because it is such low pressure. Like, you would have to essentially crank start the system to get it going and have it sort of snowball. But once it does reach the height where the entire thing is pressurized to the point, well, for some reason the back of my mind tells me 300 kPa is the most that these iron frames can take. I'm not sure. Wait, did I already make one? Is that what's going on? Good. Yeah, it's not like you could have bloody turned it around so you could see the pressure readings, Scarlet. You bloody buffhead. Alright, that's fine. Oh wow, you can put them like right up next to each other? That's dangerous. Let's do that. Yeah, I'd be curious what people have to say on that sort of turbine theory, because we don't want to lose the thread. Like, as much as I love jumping from project to project, I think we should really sort of nut this one out. Alright, this system should work. I'm not connecting that just yet. We're going to need power, and I have hardly any cable. What's our copper situation look like? Oh, shitloads. Again, we got to be careful. This bloody storm will jump me. Yeah, so that's something I'd like to do. As much as that'd be a cool experiment, and if we have in fact come up with an infinite source of energy, like, I could be overlooking something small. That's why I'm floating the idea. Yeah, I'd love to do that, but we currently have our main project set at the moment, which is, you know, Operation Vulcan. So we don't want to lose the thread. Actually, why don't you just do that? Why don't you just do that, Scarlet? Oh, now that's interesting. We've got no power going through there, but we have power here. See, now, oh! Wasn't expecting I'd be able to do that, if we're being honest. Alright, that's a lifesaver. There we go. Fuck yeah. Alright. Are we going to be able to do it? Yeah! Yeah, baby! Alright, so what we kind of need to do is, what are we theorizing? That's the through line, and that's the actual pass off filter? That's sort of what I was going with, right? Yeah, so if that's the case, what I want to do, because this is a dirty tank basically, is I would want to move. Don't you fucking dare. Come on, game. Are you serious? Are you fucking gonna really? You're gonna do this to me? I'm terrified of these tanks killing me. Where'd my wrench go? I dropped the wrong thing. Okay. Alright. Hey, oh, that's probably just backfilled that to buggery anyway. Stuff this. We'll do that just to be safe. We're only going to run it for a sec. Alright. Why? What did I do? What did I connect up that... Shit. Now, I believe I can actually, in fact, vent this. Can I not? Fuck this, I'm going to vent it. Oh, do I have to... Fuck. How did I dirty this line? I made an effort not to connect it. Pipe, nil. Okay. Here we go. Pipe network 49. So this, you fuck. This base plate's not clean. Gonna do here. Back pressure. I mean, I don't really want to fuck with this system, but I want to purge this thing, right? Because we want a clean system. Fuck, you know what? You know what? Fuck you, game. I won't have it. Now, does this hold gas when I deconstruct it, actually? That could change things. Oh! Never mind, I was just gonna fucking throw this in the corner and build a new one. It could get stuffed as far as I was concerned. Alright. Let's do some analytics. Clean. 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 Which is interesting. Why aren't you backfilling? That's interesting. I mean, I will take that. But how come this pipe, hasn't equalized with the external atmosphere. Do you know what I mean? Unless maybe it is a one-way valve. You know what? I've just answered my own question. It's got to be a one-way valve mechanism. Oh no, what are you doing? Stop that. Alright, and then one last check. Empty, empty, empty. Alright. Definitely empty. Alright, cool. Now, presumably there's something in this. Yeah. Alright. We'll turn this on for a quick sec. Interesting. So after all that, what I thought would be the waste is, in fact, it's the other pipe. Fuck me, man. You think you got it figured out. N2O. Really? How did that get made? I don't know, maybe something I was smelting? Alright, okay, so at least we know that this is not the volatile. This is everything else. But yeah, I would have thought intuitively you go through here, that filters out through there, but no, that's fine. That's fine. What we might end up having to do actually is, I mean, how much pressure do we have of this? I might end up just venting this because it's just, well, all right, we've got two options. We could keep the tank and just replace it, or we could vent it. Because, I mean, what's the harm in having a spare fucking tank lying around? I'll have to put it somewhere. You know, for storage and... Yeah, you know what? We could use a spare tank. And then I'll have to purge all the lines and that as well. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, my power's been running a bit hot. Let's get another connector going. Do we still have the iron in there? No, we don't. Tank. So we'll just do this for storage sake. Tank. Doodle-doo, doodle-doo, doodle-doo. Now I'm thinking of Cowboy Bebop. Alright, so we'll move that, we'll purge the lines, we won't empty the tank because we'll keep it, because fuck it, you know? Who knows? I mean, we'll need another tank at some point, surely. I should probably color code all this shit too. Alright, we'll just plonk that there, I guess, for the time being. You can go here. You can just sit there and bake in the sun. I'm sure that's a bloody terrible idea as well. Alright. Maybe, I mean, there's no reason not to give them some space, you know? Let's just do that this time. And I'll just, because I'm now paranoid. Yeah, that purges it. Okay. Yeah, and like I said, I don't mean to exploit that. I'm all for bleeding lines and all that sort of stuff. But like, I could understand if the devs are like, ah, fuck it, destroy pipes, that's fine. You know, it's not hot. I don't think it's that exploitable so much as it would just introduce a huge fiddly component of bleeding lines of pressure down to 0. I don't know, maybe it's not working as intended. I'd be curious. Alright. Alright, just to confirm. Empty, empty. Alright. Give it another go. UH2. There we go. That's what we wanted. Yeah. 26 degrees, fuck me. Alright, so that's separated out. So as far as I can understand, that should be, you could, for the most part, render that as inert. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, hang on. What do they call it? Volatile? Flashpoint, 95%. 95%? Shit, I'm gonna have to brush up on Flashpoint because I don't know what that means. Is that like a 95% mixture? That can't be right. Huh. Alright. Like I said, I'm rusty, so that could mean something. I don't know, Tim. Maybe you can fill me in. I appreciate all the help as well. Okay, cool. I think we're getting there. Let me know what you reckon about the whole turbine theory. This is cool. We'll just encase this in a little tunnel so it can get a bit of throughput cooling from the atmosphere. And, yeah, I think we're going to be ready to potentially scale up the smelting next. Alright, might just leave it there for the time being. I'll catch you guys on the next one.